Welcome to the Divorce Survival Guide podcast, where we have open and honest conversations about co-parenting, separation, divorce, and the hardest question of all, should you stay or should you go? I'm Kate Anthony, your divorce survival guide, and I'm here to help you navigate some of the roughest waters you've ever swum in and answer some of your toughest questions. I've been to hell and back, and now it's my mission in life to help you get to the other side of this process with your sanity and your heart intact.
Hey everyone, welcome back. All right, continue on with our series of 7-step mindset reset for divorce. We are moving into practicing self-care. Now, we talked about patience last time, and yes, patience is a form of self-care, but there's a lot more to the self-care that is necessary. It is essential at this juncture to practice self-care so that you can manage the emotional, mental, and physical challenges of what you're going through. I want you to be focusing on relaxation, but I'm not saying it's like go lie down. Although, you know what? Sometimes going and lying down is a really, 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 really good idea. If you set your alarm for 20 minutes and you just go and lie down and do nothing and let the cobwebs and the shit just work itself out, whether you sleep or not, you're going to feel much more renewed and able to focus. Being in community. There is nothing better, nothing, than getting the support and understanding from a community that understands and knows what you're going through. Shameless plug for Phoenix Rising. All of the women in Phoenix Rising are getting that support, and it is really helping them. So prioritizing your well-being. Look, get your pap smear, get your mammogram. You may not feel like you have time to go to the dentist and all of those things. You have to. Because the last thing you need in the middle of your divorce is to find out that you need a root canal because you've been ignoring your physical well-being. God help you, right? Here's why self-care is important, right? It creates emotional resilience. It helps you manage and process intense emotions when you are taking care of yourself at a basic level. It helps your mental well-being. It is going to support clarity of thought and decision-making. And it is also going to support your physical health by reducing stress and promoting overall well-being. There are some strategies that I would love to see you employ. I want you to create boundaries. I know, right? Boundaries. What a radical concept. I'm not just talking about, I am talking about dropping the rope. I am. But I'm also talking about creating a separate email address for everything to do with your divorce so that you are not inundated 24/7 by emails either from your soon-to-be ex, your attorney, right? When you're just checking your email to catch something for school or soccer schedule or whatever, and then you're blindsided by some filing that you didn't know was coming through, right? Use a separate email address and then designate times when you are going to be handling divorce-related communication or paperwork. That time should be you're going to light a candle. You're going to make some tea. You are going to you're going to meditate first, and then you're going to prepare yourself to open that door and intentionally walk through it. As opposed to, it's just always crashing down on you, right? That's how I want you to create boundaries. Speaking of lighting a candle, right? I want you to create some kind of calming ritual for when you go through and manage emails and paperwork in your process. So light a candle, play soothing music, whatever that is for you, meditating before, meditating after. You're opening the door, you're closing the door, and I want it to be intentional. I want you to schedule time. So you're going to allocate specific periods of time to work on divorce stuff And then you are going to put it away. Okay? You are literally going, Tina Swithin talks about putting this on a shelf. You're putting your divorce on a shelf. I do not want your divorce binder, planner, whatever notes sitting out on your kitchen counter where you just see them all the time, where your kids can see them. I want you to have a file box, and you take it down. You light your candle, you do your meditation, you take down the binder, you take down the box, take out the binder, set the stage, you do your process, and then when you're done, you put it away. Please put it away. I was talking to a client a few weeks ago, and she told me that she was basically working on her divorce kind of nonstop, almost 24/7. And she's like, my head is reeling. I can't focus because I feel like I have so much to do, and I had to stop her and say, whoa, hold on. Let's go through these 7 steps again, because you don't have to do all of this, and you don't have to do it all today. In fact, I want you to work on it 2 to 3 times a week. And the rest of the time, I want you out in nature, taking a walk, because I could see it on her face that she was kind of not functioning. She was so overwhelmed and she was so mired in it that she was actually having trouble being present with herself, her kids, right? That's not necessary. Again, patience and knowing that this is a very long process. There's no need to rush all of it. You're going to get there. You might have 90 days to file all of your disclosures, your financial disclosures. That's 3 months, right? You don't need to do it every single day. You're okay. You're not going to get an A for getting them in 3 days. In fact, you're just going to have longer to wait, because you can be rest assured your ex is not going to do that, right? So you're going to schedule time. It's going to be maybe a couple of hours, a few times a week. And look, if you're in a super high conflict case, you may have to do it every day, but we're only doing it for like an hour a day. If you're preparing for trial, things like that. Another effective self-care strategy is community support. I cannot highlight this enough. When you are surrounded by others who understand your experience, you are going to have invaluable emotional support. And there are ways to do this that are not Phoenix Rising, but since you're here listening to my podcast, I'm assuming you kind of dig me in my work, and Phoenix Rising is the place for that. Truly, truly, truly. I had a friend called me yesterday and said, I've got a friend, she's really struggling. I referred her to your work, but she just feels so isolated and alone in this process because nobody else in her circle understands. Nobody's been through it, and nobody understands what she's going through. And I'm like, yep, that's why I created Phoenix Rising. So there you go. Listen, these are some basic self-care tips for going through divorce, right? Deciding on specific times and durations for dealing with these tasks and sticking to the schedule, minimizing thinking about it, right? And I understand that you're going to be thinking about it. You're going to feel inundated by it, but I want you to go for walks without your phone. If you have a dog, even better, they get us out, but leave your phone at home and just be out in whatever version of nature you have where you live. I live in Los Angeles. We got lots of trees around. That's, but they're sidewalk trees. That's my nature. It's still nature. It's fine. I want you going to yoga. I want you practicing mindfulness. Listen, a mindfulness practice is really hard, especially when you're in the midst of absolute chaos. And it's a really hard time to start it. And if you haven't yet started a mindfulness practice, and this is not a muscle that has been developed already for you, it's really important to start now, as hard as it may be. Mindfulness keeps your brain, it's there. You're building neural pathways to keep you present in this moment now, while you're driving in your car, walking your dog, listening to my voice, keeping you present right here in this moment, because this process can keep you spinning into the future. It can keep you ruminating about the past. And those two things, right? Fear of the future, of an uncertain future, and resentment and anger and bitterness and all of the things about the past and grief over the past, those things are going to cloud your ability to make decisions that are very, very important now. So, as I always say, divorce is you're making the biggest legal and financial decisions of your entire life in the middle of the biggest emotional upheaval of your entire life. And keeping yourself emotionally grounded in the here and now is possibly one of the most important things that you can do. And I also want you to schedule those doctor's appointments, right? Make sure that you are taking care of your physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, and financial health through this as well. In the bundle of resources, I have a link to my self-care checklist as well as the effective strategies for self-care that you're going to not have to, but whatever you might choose to implement during this time because it's going to be very, very, very beneficial. I promise. Okay, my love. Up next, we're going to have radical acceptance, and we will talk all about that on the next episode. In the meantime, start focusing on your self-care, and I will be back with you in just a couple days.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Divorce Survival Guide podcast. If you like what you hear, head on over to Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen in and leave me a review. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at the Divorce Survival Guide. I'll see you next time, and until then, remember, you, my love, deserve to be happy.